What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sterling from ENT, and welcome back to ENT Fantasy Football yet again, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, guys, we have the NFL season starting literally just right around the corner. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. It feels like we just had the Super Bowl, and here we are. The season's already starting, and before we know it, the season's going to be over again soon. But we have to enjoy it while it's here, ladies and gentlemen. But for today's video, since we're already back in the full swing of football going on already, a lot of people, they finish off their fantasy football draft and they're like, maybe I'm not too satisfied with my team. So if you're not too satisfied with your team, this video is for you. Before we get into my waiver wire pickups for this week, go down below, like, subscribe, comment. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into the video. So my first pickup for this week is this guy right here, Mike Davis. This is kind of just going to be like a 1 week spot start because the Ravens running back core has just been destroyed with injuries. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins had a season-ending injury last season that he's still having lingering issues with. Gus Edwards had a season-ending injury last season as well, and he's going to miss like the first 4 weeks of this season. And so the Ravens running back room is totally injured right now. And Mike Davis, now look, I know what you're thinking. I know what you are thinking, and I'm thinking the exact same thing. Mike Davis, ew. I had to deal with the Mike Davis problem last year. I unfortunately drafted Mike Davis last season when he was on the Falcons, and I was expecting big things from him. But this upcoming week, week 1, Mike Davis, he has a solid opportunity to produce this week. If J.K. Dobbins, by the way, J.K. Dobbins is still questionable, and it's trending and looking like every day it's looking worse and worse that he's going to play. And so Mike Davis, even if J.K. Dobbins does play, Mike Davis is going to be involved in a rushing first offense, a team that wants to run the ball, that wants to establish the run. And Mike Davis, if J.K. Dobbins doesn't start, Mike Davis, he has to be picked up and at least flexed. Because Mike Davis, he has a good shot at getting a touchdown. He has a good shot at getting a good-sized workload for a running back. And so Mike Davis, he's only 27% rostered in Yahoo leagues right now, and I think it's worth a pickup. Just a spot start, a week 1 spot start. Screw it. It's Mike Davis. You might as well. He's on the Ravens rushing attack, and so pick up Mike Davis. He's my first pickup. So this next player that I want to bring up on this week 1 waivers is a player that I have talked about on this channel a lot. Because this player has to be rostered in fantasy football. There's no way that he shouldn't be rostered, and this guy is Alexander Madison. Now, Alexander Madison already has so much value just because he's the handcuff to Dalvin Cook. Now, I will get into some more about some handcuffs just right after I talk about Alexander Madison. If for whatever reason, if something happens to Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison is extremely, extremely valuable because we have seen time in and time again, because Dalvin Cook has an injury history. That's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to leave it at that. Dalvin Cook has an injury history. Alexander Madison steps in, and every time he's excelled in stepping in and filling the shoes of Dalvin Cook. And so already he should be rostered just because of that reason. He's a very high value handcuff. But recently there's been in the news, per reports, the Vikings have been getting a lot of calls, and they are interested in possibly moving Alexander Madison. And so per reports, at least 12 teams have called the Vikings interested in trading for Alexander Madison. And from what I've heard, from what the reports say, the Vikings are asking for a lot. And teams, a lot being like a 3rd round pick, a 3rd or 4th round pick, most likely would be a starter. If you're giving up a 3rd round pick for a running back, most likely you're bringing him in to be a starter. And so if Alexander Madison ends up getting traded and becomes a starter on another team, he is going to be very high value, very, very high value. And so if he's available in your league, go get Alexander Madison. I'm tired of telling you guys, go get him if he's available. And so since this is the first waiver wire video of the season, I'm going to start putting this in your guys' heads right now because this is super, super, super important information for fantasy football. As I was just talking about Alexander Madison, one thing in fantasy football that is super, super, super relevant is how often starting running backs get injured. Even if it's just for a 2-game stretch, if it's a season-ending injury, starting running backs get injured a lot in fantasy football. And so handcuffs are extremely important. Extremely, extremely important. And so if you have a workhorse running back on your fantasy roster, please pick up the handcuff. please pick up the handcuff just to be safe. Guys, like, if you have David Montgomery on your fantasy roster, you should probably have the handcuff, which is Khalil Herbert. Especially if you have a guy who is more injury prone, like as I was just talking about, Dalvin Cook. If you have Dalvin Cook on your roster, you should have Alexander Madison. So especially like Christian McCaffrey. If you have Christian McCaffrey, go pick up Deonta Foreman right now. You do not want your starting running back to get injured and for somebody else to go pick up the handcuff before you get to it, and now you're already at a disadvantage. And you never know when something's going to happen. And so it's always very valuable to have a handcuff on your roster. So this one's kind of just a little quick video, but for the last little portion of this video, I want to go over some defensive streamers for fantasy football. So my personal favorite strategy when it comes to defenses in fantasy football is to stream defenses. So in my league of record, this first week, I'm playing the Tennessee Titans defense this week. They are playing against the Giants, so it's a favorable matchup for that defense. And so I'm going to give you guys some streamers that you can use for if you like streaming defenses week to week, which is what I typically like to do in leagues. Here's 3 defenses that will readily available on most waiver wires. You can go pick them up right now. They should perform pretty well this week. So the first one, as I just mentioned, Titans DST versus the Giants. It's a favorable matchup. The Titans defense is only rostered in 40% of Yahoo leagues, so they're readily available. You can just go out there, pick them up, and you can start them this week. I would be confident. The next one is the Bengals defense. In Yahoo leagues, the Bengals defense is rostered in 37% of leagues, which is, again, like they're pretty available. This week they're playing the Steelers, which we don't know what the Steelers are going to look like. Obviously, Mitch Trubisky's starting. Juju Smith-Schuster's not there. Not like Juju is some crazy like game changer, but like the Steelers' offense is going to look a little bit different this year. And so with that question mark, with already the offense not being that great last year, and the Bengals also have a really solid defense. And so 37% rostered, I would be confident starting the Bengals this week. This defense is readily available, and I would be confident starting this week. And it's the Washington Commanders. They are available in 92% of Yahoo fantasy leagues, and this week they're playing the Jaguars. And so, obviously, the Jaguars have made some improvements on their offense. Like, they brought in Christian Kirk, they brought in Evan Ingram, they're getting Travis Etienne, who obviously is not a rookie, but he's kind of a rookie. Like, we haven't seen him play NFL football yet. And so he's a young, explosive player. So the Jaguars are obviously getting better, but, I mean, come on. They're the Jaguars. Like, every single year, the Jaguars just are not that good. Trevor Lawrence, I'm a big Trevor Lawrence fan. I'm hoping that he can take a jump in year 2. But last year, he also did, if I'm not mistaken, he was tied for, like, the most interceptions in the league. So, the Commanders, remember 2 years ago, the Commanders were, like, one of the best defenses in the league. Obviously, they took a step back last year, but I'm hoping they can bounce back this year. They still have playmakers on that defense. And so, yeah, I would be confident streaming them this week against the Jaguars. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end. Make sure you guys go down below, like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you guys go watch the video that dropped yesterday. It's our My Guys for the 2022 fantasy season. We also have some videos coming out really soon. We have a Guess Who video coming out where we have to guess a player that's we don't know who we are. It's me and Joseph in it. And yeah, enjoy the football game tonight, guys. I love you guys so much. I'm out of here. Thank you, guys.